na natin ang Senate hearing kaugnay ng pagkamatay ng OFW sa Kuwait. Tawagin natin si Rajuman Grace Mariano.
Dzxl Report.
Pakinggan na po natin itong pagdinig ng Senate Committee on Labor, Employment and Human Resources Development na pinamumunuan ni Senator Joel Villanueva. Tinatalakay nila dito ang mga resolusyong inihain ng ilang mga senador kaugnay ito sa pagkamatay at pagmaltrato sa mga OFWs, mga nagtatrabahong manggagawang Pilipino sa ibang bansa at kasama na rin dyan yung ilang kaso sa Kuwait. Pakinggan na po natin ang hearing.
As known to everybody, Your Honor, she has been flown back from Kuwait to Manila. Sara, Iloilo. Although they dropped by muna, Your Honor, I think you're familiar with it, Ahoy. Doon, inano yung balsa mo niya. After the embalming, they finally brought the body of OFW, the Mapilis Sara. So that's the repatriation of the body of our national new tawag natin sa kanya baka bagong bayani, Your Honor, bagong bayani na nandun na siya ngayon. Although the usual strong about the assistance extended to her, Your Honor, is that although the standard would be for OWA to extend a death benefit of 200,000, but probably because of the intensity of the impact of her death, the Administrator Kakdak we recommended to the governing board of OWA to increase the death benefits to, I think, 300,000, from 2 to 300, and then increase the livelihood assistance from 50 to 200, and then additional benefits as educational benefits for 100, giving a total of 600,000. But just lately, Your Honors, our administrator of POEA discovered that yung agency who originally deployed her is a closed agency, sarado na. Pero meron silang nahabol na pera, yung $15,000 insurance coverage, compulsory insurance coverage ni OFW de Mapili. So meron tayo pang may dadagdag doon. So yun po ang na-extend namin assistance so far.
Welcome again to the Senate.
In fairness, there are other agencies out of humanitarian sympathy, they offered to give additional financial assistance to the family. And then,
ngayong araw, muli natin bubuksan ang pagdinig tungkol sa MRT at PUV modernization program. Pero uunahin natin ang PUV modernization.
He almost fainted, Your Honor. Deputy Administrator Ignacio. But ang report sa akin ni Administrator Kakdak, Your Honor, is that the family has a house. The family has a house na started by Joanna. Kaya lang hindi na nga inabot, hindi natapos. And then we also find out na meron silang lupa, 3-hectare property na sinanla nila sa isang kernel, and ang utang lang nila is 275 euro. And yung kernel, hindi niya siguro alam ang batas. Nung binabawi, gusto niya patungan pa niya. He has been using the land for more than 3 years, and yet gusto pa niyang patungan ng interest yung utang na 275. So, sabi siguro, maybe OWA can handle the assistance in terms of advancing the payment of the property. And at the same time, OWA is also thinking of completing the house, Your Honor, para matapos yung panaginip ni OFW Joanna, yung bahay na inumpisa niya, kung hindi man matapos dahil sa kanyang kamatayan, will be completed after her death. Ayun po ang circumstances surrounding the death of our OFW Joanna. Although before that, Your Honors, I have to give you a precedent, Your Honor. Before that, that was January, we found out that we had 7 deaths in Kuwait, 3 OFW ladies by hanging, suicide by hanging, 2 deaths by oxygen poisoning, and the other 2 hindi masyadong relevant kasi yung isang babae pinatay ng boyfriend niya at yung boyfriend niyang si Raulo nagpakamatay after killing his girlfriend. So now, as a result of this series of deaths in the span of 2 months, Your Honor, I immediately issued an order suspending the issuance of processing and issuance of OECs in Kuwait. Ininto ko muna ang deployment doon. And then this was overtaken by the total ban because of the death of OFWD families. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Secretary Bello. Just to, as we are pressed for time, we'd like to start the ball rolling by asking our colleagues to ask questions. As I mentioned earlier, we are interested in evaluating our policies that we are implementing. Just before I give the floor to Senator Dillon, just one question that I'd like to raise. First things first, to begin with, I'd like to mention that our migrant workers based in Kuwait, and please correct me if I'm wrong, are experiencing very different and very difficult working conditions. Like other Gulf countries, Kuwait has adopted the notorious kafala system. I don't know, please correct me if I'm wrong, about this kafala system or the what we call sponsorship system. I hope our Presidential Advisor on OFW and Muslim Concerns can also give light to this. Accordingly, this system hinders the rights of our migrant workers. Accounts made by UNCHR and ILO highlight how our workers would have to ask for their employer's consent before they can actually leave the country. And if they do not comply, they may face criminal charges. This system has facilitated the abusive practice of altering the terms of the employment contract of the migrant workers or taking their passports and identifications as leverage. Ang question ko lang ho, Secretary, just to start the ball rolling, yung pre-departure ng ating mga OFWs, are the workers informed of their rights to foreign country as part of the pre-orientation departure seminar? Are they also informed about this kafala system? And at the same time, siguro, yung options that are available to them when they get into that situation, na alam nila kung ano yung gagawin nila, saan sila pupunta, anong gagawin nila, sinong pupuntahan nila.
Thank you, Your Honor. Actually, before I came, Your Honor, I'm sure the Honorable Senator Dillon is aware of this, yung PIDOS, Your Honor. We have the PIDOS, the Pre-Departure Orientation Seminar. This is supposed to be a briefing, a 6-hour briefing before you leave for deployment. When I came in, I learned about this practice, Your Honors, and I was planning to scratch the whole system, because what can an OFW who is about to leave for deployment learn in 6 hours? So I was planning to introduce some reforms by requiring all agencies to establish a training center. If you cannot put up a training center, then you cannot qualify as a recruitment agency. That is being studied already by Administrator Olalia, Your Honor, of POEA. Pero yung talagang problema dyan is wala kang matuturo sa loob ng 6 na oras. Source of corruption ito, Your Honors. Even before I joined government, immediately after my term with the late President Cory, I went back to practice. Meron akong kliyente na yun ang negosyo niya, PIDOS. and she asked me to help her in the business by renting a unit in Ermita, a small building there. Then she would conduct PDOS dun. Instead of 6 hours, 30 minutes lang. Instead of 500 pesos, nangniningil lang 1,000. But that's my client, Your Honor. So, pero wala talagang na-aaral dyan sa 6 hours. We should require all our agencies to establish a training center so that all our OFWs who will be deployed will be properly briefed on where they're going, what they will expect there, what are the laws, the culture that they will meet when they go to the foreign country. Yun ang kailangan natin, Your Honors.
Yung kafala system, sir, I don't know if our Department of Foreign Affairs would give us some information. Meron ba tayong nakasuhan na migrant worker because of this, umalis lang? Kasi nakalagay ho dito, they may face criminal charges.
Regarding the kafala system, first, it's just to clarify po, it's a sponsorship system sa Middle East that's unique in the sense that the sponsor is not just a sponsor or employer as we understand it, especially in the West, but the sponsor actually becomes the owner of the household, of the service worker, of the domestic, in the concept of chattel. It's a slave. It's actually wala po.
So talagang kapala mukha yan.
Yeah. Ano po siya? And then besides, wala pong nakakasuhan pa. Well, it's not so officially stated. It is so in practice po. Just to clarify po, this is manifested in slave labor conditions such as no days off, no food, 2 to 4 hours of sleep daily, and maltreatment. Often, slave conditions include sexual slavery. In 2017, there were 6,000 abuses that were reported by the embassy. This includes sexual harassment and rape, and shows employer tendencies that border on...
Is it in Kuwait also, sir? All over?
Okay. This is specific to Kuwait. It's specific to Kuwait. By this token, the problem is very deep-seated and there's no easy solution. The ban, which may or may not be permanent, thus creates an opening for fruitful negotiations. So
that's exactly my point, sir. Bakit pa tayo kailangan magpadala kung klaro na may ganyan? Yung pong Section 4 ng RA 8042 as amended by RA, binanggit po ni Senator Frank kanina, RA 10022, yung Migrant Workers Act, provides protection that ensures that our OFWs are protected in the country where they will be deployed. But based on this information that we have gathered, ang dami ng red flags which should have been alerted long before. For example, first, Kuwait has not ratified and is not a signatory of any conventions pertaining to the protection of migrant workers. Primarily, the 2003 International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of their Families, and the 1975 Convention concerning Migration in Abusive Conditions, and the promotions of equality of opportunity and treatment of migrant workers. Pangalawa, Kuwait Domestic Worker Law. Silent po I think si Kabayan Tuts told me about it. They're silent on the procedures and penalties that may be imposed in the event that our OFW encounter physical and sexual abuse from their employers, as well as conditions that entitles the OFW for immediate repatriation. I don't know if this is still existing, no? But third, and this is really baffling, why the POEA did not impose the ban sooner, considering the increasing number of deaths. Kanina binabanggit po natin, 2016, 82 deaths. 2017, 103 deaths. Not to mention the thousands of reported cases of abuse. So, yun yung question bakit ngayon lang? As a matter of policy, meron po bang ganon? How many deaths do we need to hear or abuses na must be reported before your office or a government agency will impose a deployment ban?
Can we pursue that question of the chair? Because under the law, the POEA board of POA governing board is supposed to review the deployment situation, the condition in the receiving countries, and is authorized under the law to impose a ban. What action has been taken by the POA governing board, given all of these deaths that is surfacing now, Mr. Secretary?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Before you answer, let me just acknowledge Senator Cynthia Villar, our champion for OFWs, who is here. Thank you. Sir, please reply.
Thank you, Your Honor. This representation is the chairman of the governing board.
Okay.
And although we have not adopted this drastic decision to ban the deployment of our OFWs, especially the household service workers from deployment, we, by policy, have limited the deployment, Your Honor.
No. Have you ever met and discussed these problems that we are now surfacing?
Yes, Your
The
Honor.
deaths of 185 deaths in 2 years. Where are these deaths concentrated? Which country?
This is just Kuwait that we're talking about.
This is just Kuwait that we're talking about. Oh, okay. I thought it was overall. So only in Kuwait, 185 deaths for the last 2 years. Have we met in the last 2 years to check on this and to at least consider a ban for Kuwait?
As I was saying, Your Honors, we, as a matter of policy, we lowered the deployment, number of deployments. Now, the increase in the incidents of death and abuse on our OFWs could also be attributed to so many illegal recruitment, Your Honors. Ang daming mga illegal recruiters.
Oh, yes,
that is why whenever we impose stricter rules and procedures, nahinto mo nga yung valid and legal procedure, this give rise to mga illegal recruiters.
Yes, at the very least, it should have been brought to surface so that public opinion can be developed and pressure can be brought upon the recruitment agencies to stop recruiting for Kuwait. This is one of the areas probably as part of our oversight function, Mr. Chairman, that we should look at.
And let me just point out what Senator Dulon is emphasizing. There's a law here that we're talking about, and let's ask the POEA, what are the critical factors that POEA is currently using to identify which countries are deemed restricted for our OFWs?
Your Honors, good afternoon, Your Honors. First of all, good afternoon, Your Honors. First of all, before the POEA allows deployment of workers to other countries, there must be a certification issued by the Department of Foreign Affairs that said country is a labor-compliant country.
Now, was a certification issued for Kuwait?
Yes, Your
Sir.
Honor.
Huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
The DFA issued a certification that Kuwait is a labor-compliant country, complying with conventions like ILO Convention 189 and their national laws protect our workers. Your Honor.
After getting the information about the kafala system from DFA.
May I respond?
Yes,
Please. We have refused to rate Kuwait as fully compliant. Only partially compliant.
What's the difference in terms of the ability of POA to allow deployment between a partial and a non-compliant and a full compliant? Anong pagkaiba nun?
Ang pagkakaano po niyan is because whenever they have been rated as being partially compliant simply for the plain and simple reason that
Sorry?
because they also entertain the cases that we have been filing. In other words, meron po mga kaso itinataas ang through the embassy at ano naman po. So in a sense, it's a I don't know how you term it. Hindi po sila na-term na hindi sila na absolutely rated na hindi compliant but only partially compliant because there is some form of cooperation going on.
Yeah, but even partially compliant, there is actually no ban on deployment. Everybody happy. Deployment continues. Ganun po ba yun? Is that how it sounds, Administrator Eulalia?
Sir, we only get, the go signal from the DFA. We will not deploy workers.
Okay, so typical.
So if that's the case kung partially compliant, okay na rin yun.
The rules allows us to deploy, sir.
We need to look at it. Yes, let's...
Just to some specifics. First, Mr. Secretary Bello, you have not mentioned the names of the labor attaché, the OWA, the deputy OWA officer who were recalled. Can we have them on the record? Hindi niyo po nabanggit. Sino mga itong... well, please use the microphone.
Kindly use the microphone.
The labor attaché, Your Honor, is labor attaché Alejandro Padain. The assistant labor attaché, Your Honor, is assistant labor attaché Lily Pearl Guerrero. And the welfare officer is Miss Sara Concepcion.
Are they under investigation?
As soon as they are back, Your Honors, we'll place them under
But
investigation.
I assume some administrative case will be filed against them to make them answer,
Yes, Your
to
Honor.
find out whether there was negligence on their part.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, just a few more questions. Who is the recruiter?
May I answer the question, Your Honor?
Please.
The recruiter is Our Lady of Mount Carmel Global E Human Resources Incorporated. In May 18, 2014, when our kababayan OFW Demertelis was deployed, they said the agency is a licensed agency. But in 2016, sir, the recruitment license of the said agency was cancelled because of a recruitment violation.
Was because of what?
A recruitment violation. Your Honor.
Recruitment violation.
Yes, sir.
What was the recruitment violation?
We do not know the specific details, but the said license was cancelled and it was never reinstated after that cancellation.
Because we know that the recruiter is jointly and severally liable for at least money claims that are due to our overseas Philippine workers. How much was there any amount that was recovered?
There is an escrow deposit supposedly of 1 million for every licensed recruitment agency, Your Honor. But the said escrow deposit of 1 million was garnished by the NLRC because of another pending case, which was decided by the NLRC.
Was whoever was who was the employer of Miss Dimapiles? Was he an original employer, or was he past? Was the OFW was our country? Was Miss Dimapiles transferred? Was there a contract substitution?
We suppose he is the original.
I'm sorry?
employer. We suppose, Your Honor, they are the original employers.
Is the
Original.
Because you have not investigated who are the recruiter. Why have we not called in the recruiter?
There is an ongoing investigation, Your Honor, in the POA regarding this recruitment.
What
agency.
kind of investigation? There can be criminal liability here.
Yes, Your Honor. We're investigating the nature of the circumstances on the deployment, the liability of the recruitment agency, even if the recruitment license has been cancelled, and the liability of our POA personnel who handled the notice of repatriation request sometime in January of 2017.
All right. What's the name of the recruiter? I mean the person who owned.
Yes, sir. Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
Yes, but juridical ano yan eh. That's the agency. Who is the name? What is the name of the owner of that agency? And is he the one? Oh.
Yes, this is a corporation, Your Honor.
Yes, I know, but who is the president? Who is the majority stockholder?
Your Honor, may I?
Yes,
The
Mr.
owner
Secretary.
is Mr. Padilla Pars Kawed Al-Kodor.
Huh?
Padilla Pars Kawed Al-Kodor.
Is he a foreigner?
Foreigner, Your Honor.
My goodness gracious. Huh? So why was a license issued to a foreigner? When in fact a license is supposed to be issued, a foreigner is not supposed to be an officer nor a stockholder of a recruitment agency. That's specific under the law. Huh? Why?
The owner is a Filipino.
No what?
Recruitment agencies are issued. Recruitment licenses are issued only to Filipino nationals.
Yes,
Your Honor.
but the name here appears to be a foreigner, and the secretary said he is a foreigner.
The name mentioned by the Honorable Secretary refers to the Foreign Recruitment Agency, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm talking.
The
Oh,
counterpart of the local
recruitment agency is who is the owner of the local? Who is the majority stockholder in the local recruitment agency?
Yes. We will provide this committee of the complete names.
Can we get
Why not? Why is this a secret or you do not know?
No, we do not have the data right now. But, we will.
My goodness. You know how many days already passed since this was discovered up to now? We still do not know. That means you're not really exerting effort. Huh?
Your Honor, we have it right now. The president is Adrian R. Briones.
Adrian Briones.
R. Briones.
Have you invited Adrian Briones to a session or questioning? None.
He will be invited.
He will be invited. You have not invited him up to this point. Right?
The committee is set to invite everyone
Yes,
who is a
all
person
right.
interested in the investigation, Your Honor.
Now, you know, just again on a point of implementation. The secretary testified and informed us that it was over a year ago when the sister of the Mapiles reported that they could not find their sister. That was 1 year ago. There is a provision in Section 20 of the Migrants Workers Act. It says, establishment of a shared government information system for migration. This is supposed to provide by law for a system so that there is a networking of information. The moment this kind of information is received by the agency, the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Commission on Filipino Overseas, the DOLE, the Department of Justice, Bureau of Immigration, etc., etc., may isang dosenang agency are supposed to share this information. What happened here? Why is this not working? Is there, Mr. Secretary, is there any need to amend this law, or is there a question of lack of implementation?
I will agree with the Honorable Senator that it is a matter of implementation, Your Honor.
It has not been implemented.
Yes, Your Honor.
And maybe something could have been done. I do not know what. If he was missing. By the way, has it been the time of death and the date of death has not been established?
That, Your Honor, has not yet been established. The time of the death of OFW de Mapiles has not been established. Because as I was saying, Your Honor, there is still a difficulty in the conduct of the autopsy. Because the body of the OFW, Your Honor, was so frozen that they could hardly identify even the fingerprint.
You know, so if we, I go back, again, the law is very detailed, very clear, and if this was implemented, maybe we would not be confronted with this kind of situation today, especially with 180 85 deaths. Ano ba naman yan? Ha? Dalawang taon, 185 deaths, and we have not done anything until nangyari ito. We have not taken any policy step to prevent or to at least put in place.
Your Honor, if you recall,
yeah.
I mentioned that earlier I issued a suspension order, Your Honor. This is a reaction to the rising incidence of death and maltreatment of our OFWs. So I issued an order, Your Honor, suspending the processing and issuance of OECs, and exempted from this suspension is only to the balik manggagawa, Your Honor.
Just a few points. Now, first, has it been clarified that the ban applies only to, or are we saying that the ban applies to future deployment? What about those who are already in place? Now, how about the professionals, skilled workers? Are they covered by the ban?
Yes, Your Honor. It is a total ban, total deployment ban, covering not only the household service workers, but also the skilled workers, Your Honor.
And what happens to those with live contracts?
Those with live contract will be respected, Your Honor. That is why also exempted from this total ban is the case of balik manggagawa. Those who are coming home for vacation and they can go back.
Pero alam mo, madaling sabihin yan. But if you are the engineer there, you are there, you're supposed to go on vacation. Ang takot mo lang umalis sa Kuwait, baka hindi ka na makabalik. Hindi ka na
Your Honor, I know, Your Honor. That's why many of them even called before they would come home. But I assured them, I came up with a very strong information dissemination that those who are coming home for vacation are not covered. But having said that, Your Honor, we also made very sure that this issue of balik manggagawa will not be used as a way of circumventing the ban. Kasi ang dami ring mga Your Honors, mga fake OECs. Marami diyang mga agencies na pinapalabas nila na yung bumabalik na yung trabahante ay babalik magbagawa, pero hindi. That is why I instituted a mechanism na pagdating sa airport, dalawang mag-check. I-check ng POA and counter-check ng OWA para sigurado natin na yung balik manggagawa daw ay talagang balik manggagawa.
Thank you, Secretary, and thank you, Senator Drilon. I just wanted to also ask questions on that particular issue, but I'll go with that later because Secretary Bello, talagang nagkaroon ng panic at gulo doon sa Kuwait. Kasi personal ako, mga kabarkada ko nandun nagtatawagan, anong mangyayari sa amin? Kaming skilled workers, live yung contract namin. And then the DOLE Administrative Order number 54A was issued only after 2 days. So mamaya siguro pag-usapan natin, ano ba yung protocol? Ano ba yung ginagawa natin para dito sa mga ganitong situations? Before we go on, let me acknowledge one of the authors of these resolutions that we are tackling, Senate Resolution 636, Senator Grace Po. Thank you. And before I give the floor to Senator Nancy Binay, papaalala ko lang po sa mga kaibigan natin sa POEA, yung binabanggit ni Senator Frank, nandun po sa RA 10022. I-highlight ko po yung 3 guarantees from the host country for the protection of our OFWs. Nakalagay po dyan, has existing labor and social laws protecting rights of all workers, including migrant workers. Number 2, signatory or ratifier of conventions, declarations, and resolutions relating to the protection of workers. And number 3, bilateral agreement with the government. Sana maintindihan po natin ito. I give the floor to Senator Nancy Binay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Siguro, dugtungan ko lang ho yung tanong ni Senator Drilon. And first, siguro clarification. Ibig sabihin ho ba neto, yung mga new contracts, wala na hong makakaalis kahit may ticket na sila, nakagastos na sila dun sa pagpunta nila sa Kuwait?
Tama po yan, Your Honor. walang distinction. Basta bago kang deployment, hindi ka pwede po. Covered ka ng total ban po.
At meron ho ba tayong binibigay na assistance para ho dun sa kanila? Kasi alam niyo ho, itong mga to, kumbaga, na yung susweldohin nila sa Kuwait, naka-set aside na yan, pangbayad sa ano nila, sa hulog nila sa bahay, pang tuition fee ng anak. So for the meantime, na wala ho silang trabaho, ano hong tulong ang binibigay ng ating pamahalaan?
I understand your concern, Your Honor. That is why, in my meeting with about 300 of them yesterday afternoon, I told them na the reason why we impose the total ban, deployment ban, is because we want that if we send anybody, any Filipino to Kuwait to work, we must be guaranteed that he or she is properly and secured and safe. Ngayon, sabi ko sa kanila, bigyan nyo lang kami ng panahon because on February 28, the team of Undersecretary Arellano will go to Kuwait to discuss with their counterpart technical working group and finalize yung memorandum of agreement between our country and Kuwait. And sabi ko sa kanila na the moment we will sign this memorandum of agreement, this in a way can give us some assurance na yung ating madideploy na kababayan natin ay mabigyan ng sapat na protection. And this will probably give the President the reason to recall the total ban. So, naintindihan naman po nila, Your Honor.
But for the meantime, meron ho ba kayong binibigay na financial assistance or tinutulungan niyo ho ba silang makahanap ng trabaho dito?
Ang gusto kasi na talaga bumalik sa bodon, Your Honor. Pero yung assistance meron po because these are OFWs. So we give them financial assistance that is handled by OWA, Your Honor.
And are you also studying the option na baka pwede for the meantime yung ang ban lang dun sa HSW tapos baka pwedeng payagan na natin yung mga skilled workers na
In fact, Your Honor, I open to them yung mga positions that were offered by the former Senator Manny Villar, Your Honor, because he's looking for 18,000 workers. And we told them...
can I answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Because they said that they are pending construction workers in Saudi Arabia. That's why the government will send a delegation there to recruit them back to the Philippines. And if we're talking of construction worker, then there is a place in the Philippines because we have this build program and we're getting short of construction worker because of this. Even the private sector is having a hard time recruiting construction workers. So we are very interested with regards to construction workers. So I don't know if the profile of those in Kuwait are construction workers, but definitely we're talking of those who are stranded in Saudi Arabia. And they said we will send a delegation to recruit them back to the Philippines because they do not want to go back to the Philippines because they think they will not find jobs in the Philippines. So we have to assure them that they can find jobs in the Philippines in construction. Okay, that's the...
Tama po yan, ma'am. Yung kasing kausap ko kahapon, ma'am, ay yung, Your Honor, ay yung mga skilled workers. Maraming mga carpentero, engineers. That is why I told them na former Senator Villar is looking for 18,000 construction workers. Sabi ko baka pwede niyong kunin as an alternative job placement.
So if you will bring us there to recruit, we will send people to recruit. In fact, we're building the schools now. We don't teach. We ask those schools accredited with TESDA to teach.
Consultant
But we construct the building where they will...
Dzxl Special Coverage.
That portion was brought to you by Bygone. It's good to be tough. Essie Johnson. Happy